Pamela Anderson has been a part of pop culture for decades, from her home in Ladysmith to Labatt's Girl, from the pages of Playboy to the beaches of Baywatch and beyond. She has lived a very full life of highs, dramatic highs, and some devastating lows. In her new film, The Last Showgirl, Anderson plays a Vegas dancer whose star and perhaps place in the world has faded, and her vulnerable performance has generated a lot of praise and Oscar buzz.
I mean, Las Vegas used to treat us like movie stars. Costumes, sets. We were ambassadors for style and grace. The Las Vegas Showgirl.
And Pamela Anderson joins us now. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, hi.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, no, of course. I love being in Vancouver.
Oh, good. We love having you here. I did watch the movie, The Last Showgirl, earlier this week, and it really resonated with me. I keep thinking about it. And you are remarkable in your performance. It's incredible to see. I'm curious how you came to this film, because it's not necessarily what people were expecting from you.
Oh, I know. It's nice to surprise people. But I know I don't have a lot of expectations, but that's kind of a nice place to be. But I had moved home, and I just finished. I actually played Roxy in Chicago on Broadway, so I thought, from Baywatch to Broadway, that has a nice ring to it. I can live with that. I can go into my garden now and make pickles and jam and, kind of
Which also sounds lovely.
Which is amazing, and I'm still going to do that. I mean, I'll never stop making pickles. And then I received the script finally. It did kind of take a journey to get to me. Gia sent it to an old agent who turned it down within an hour, and then found my son, because she realized if it was turned down so quickly that I hadn't read it.
Right.
And so he brought it to me after he met with Gia, very protective. And when I read it, I couldn't believe, I really, just goosebumps. I could hear the voice in my head. I just knew exactly. I knew how to play her. I knew that I could inhabit this character. I could transform, and I just felt the nuances and the feelings that our lives are parallel in some ways, and I thought that was just a jumping off point. But I could bring so much to this character. I could put my life somewhere, and it felt like that. And I felt, what if I never get to do another movie? Because I might not.
Right.
And so I said, this is my chance to apply myself and do everything that I know. I mean, I've studied, and I have, always had this fascination with film and acting, but I never really had any place to put it or the focus.
Right.
I was raising my kids and in my relationships. Now my relationship is my work, and it's the best ever.
As a great boyfriend.
Yes,
I love
yes.
it.
The best boyfriend, husband ever.
The movie, one thing that I really loved about it is it really hinges on all of these different relationships, and it really plays on that idea of friends and family and the different roles that we play for each other. But the cast is incredibly stacked. What was it like working with them? You've got Jamie Lee Curtis and Kiernan Shipka and Brenda Song and Dave Bautista. It's just everybody.
Billy Lord.
Yes,
yeah.
Billy Lord. It was incredible. But it genuinely seemed like a family, and that you were all very connected, authentically.
Well, we shot this movie in 18 days.
Which is crazy.
Crazy, but it was really wonderful the way Gia had set it up, where I did my, scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis first. She only had 4 days to work, and then Dave Bautista only had a few days. So then I did my scenes with him, and then I did my scenes with the girls, and then the scenes together. And the last scene of the film is the last scene we shot.
Wow!
So it was very well organized, where we could actually bond and get to know each other, at least in those days. But Jamie Lee Curtis, when I met her, she threw her arms around me and said, "I did this film for you."
Oh wow!
And I thought,
how did
such
that
an
feel?
honor. And as she was, changing colors before my eyes, because she had just gotten the second or third spray tan, and she had the white lips and the wig and everything.
So much.
And I just, it was all these emotions going through me, but I was very nervous to meet her, and then all that fear went out the window. And I feel like I've known her my whole life, and she is such a fearless actor, wonderful person, friend, and I'm just feel so honored to work with her. And Dave Bautista gave such a great performance, such a sweet and caring and thoughtful performance, and we know him from such big action
Guardians
films.
of the Galaxy.
So I never knew him without hair. With hair,
No.
I didn't know him without hair. So when I saw him at the premiere at the Toronto Film Festival, I was like, "What diamonds, pearls? Like, this crazy
Very
suit,
different.
very different."
But that, again, everybody playing, against that stereotype,
Yes.
that misconception that we might have in our minds of a public figure, and they all were so real, and so there were so many different levels. Nobody was good, nobody was bad entirely. It was all very nuanced.
Well, and Karan and Brenda were child actors,
Yeah.
and so for them to do this film, I think they were very excited about it. But they work constantly. But they said too with me, I was very focused. I wasn't a chatty Cathy on set because I was thinking
You're taking it seriously.
I'm taking this very seriously, and I really wanted. I didn't realize because I really kind of haven't really seen myself on screen like this before, and I remember seeing at the Toronto Film Festival and looking and going, "Whoa!" I mean, you can read my mind. You can't hide anything
No, you
in the
can't.
eyes, and I'd done so much work, and I brought every part of my life into this film, and any scene is has a lot that I'm sharing in those scenes, and so I could see it, and I thought, wow, this is really a vulnerable performance, and I was really proud of myself that I held it all the way through, because I feel like I've just scratched the surface, and I'm so happy that people are resonating with it, and that they love it, and they feel it, and they see themselves, or they know Shelly's, because we all know Shelly's, we all know Annette.
We do.
And hitting these crossroads too in our careers as women and mothers, I think is very relatable.
It is incredibly relatable, and you talked about the movie in a recent Instagram post that I saw, and you said it's a story about second chances and a woman who's been discounted and discarded and who's fighting who's fighting back in her own way. Mm-hmm. That sounds a bit familiar. And
reassessing her life choices. Yes.
I think a lot of people would say that does perhaps sound like you. Sounds like many women that are in their 50s and that are having to shift out of motherhood and into a different persona. How much of Shelly did you see in yourself, and what was important to bring through?
I just had so much empathy for the character, and I could see. I trusted and knew that she was doing what was best for her daughter, and the confusion and dealing with an adult child of a person in the industry who has been objectified, and how that feels for a child. When you're going through it, you think you're going through it, but your family's going through it. Your parents are going through it. Your friends are going through it. And it all struck me that this was really important to express myself in this film about those feelings. So there's many similar things, but also I did do things a little differently. My life took different turns, but I also took time off too to raise my kids, and I couldn't imagine. There's a lot of differences in our characters too, and even I like to say when, Karan comes to the door, and I just can't take it. We only have so much we can give, and we only have the tools that we have too. If it were me, I probably would have brought her in and made pierogies, and everything would have been fine. But it was a different. It's when you transform into these characters, it's interesting that the nuances, the things that you take with you out of your own personal life. But I think the most important is to have empathy and understand. I like to think that Shelly and I had similar childhoods, and so you can kind of understand where she's coming
from. But it's interesting. You understand it. You have so much empathy for her. But you did take different paths. And, as a mother, I found it heartbreaking to watch that struggle that Shelly had with her daughter Hannah in the movie. But you took time off to raise Dylan and Brandon. You have spoken out many times about your love of motherhood, and you have this very close bond with your sons. So, how did you sort of put that aside to inhabit her?
Well, that's it. You really take a lot of your. There's so many moments that I have. I don't know if it's regrets or things I would have done differently in hindsight.
Well, everybody does,
everybody
yeah.
does, but you need the life experience to know that you would have done things
Right?
differently.
If only you could just
it's
go back as a 50-year-old and be a 20-year-old mother again, it would be perfect.
And I do think this industry in some way it stunts you. You feel childlike, and I think that's hard for kids to kind of grasp onto something that is grounded because it's not a grounded industry.
Right.
So they've nothing to hang on to, and I thought that was interesting in her voice. It was important for me to have her have this vulnerable voice because when she's talking to her daughter, who's younger, I think that happens a lot in probably it doesn't matter what industry it is, but I think especially in the entertainment industry
I can see
or
that.
music, you're eternally this kid.
Yeah.
And so that was something I wanted to work on. But it's funny, Brandon produced the documentary. He was insistent, and I was like, no one's going to care. I don't want to explain myself.
You have to listen
what
to
the
Brandon.
heck? And Brandon's like, Mom, just trust me. I said, I do trust you. I said, the only thing I want, I just don't want anything to do with it. You show me when it's done, or
Right.
don't even show me. And I haven't even really seen the whole thing because it just puts me into tears when I saw the beginning of it. And then for Gia to find him to bring me the script too. So I didn't realize I was, when I had kids that they would grow up and be so supportive of me and my dreams. I mean, it's supposed to be the other way around, and it is reciprocal.
It is.
It is reciprocal.
And
but
I think
it's
with
really
adult
lucky.
children, I think every adult, every child as they grow, they sort of have that moment when they realize that their parents are just people and that they've done their best and that they have flaws and that they are, I think, it's an interesting shift in that relationship. But I think that is reciprocal. I think as you mature, you're able to support your parents' dreams and recognize those dreams. And I think you sound like you have such a wonderful connection with your sons.
I do.
And that
It's
they
very
support
honest.
you.
It's not, not always easy because it's very honest, and I'm glad. And that's how it was very important to me when they were young to talk about their original thoughts, not other people's thoughts. What do they feel? Who are they? From very young, I encouraged that. But there is a scene in the film where I'm on the phone, and I ad-libbed that.
Did you?
So that was my little ad-lib there, but about how parents, we're not saints. We're just people, and with the tools that we've been given, do the best we can.
Yeah.
And I find people have talked to me about that scene a lot. And
It's incredible. I loved that scene.
I think it's so much. I mean, I love that this movie is not exploitive. It's not, sexually exploitive. It's not violence against women.
Nope.
It's just a story about a woman. Every woman is a movie. And I think that is enough. And so I was really pleased to be a part of a film, an indie film. We don't have the advertising dollars and the things that these big movies have, or the big salaries or anything. This was a true labor of love. And I think I love that it's getting so much attention. I love that I'm here in Vancouver promoting this film because it just feels like full circle.
Yeah.
And even the way it's being received in America, it's been, out for a week now. But to be able to promote this film and so sad with the fires, and
it's been a difficult time, I would think. There's so much heartbreak, but it's such a time of joy for you personally.
It's feeling happy and sad at the same time. That's actually a feeling.
Well, that's sort of the human experience.
I'm going to put that in my pocket for something else. But it's been a great experience, and I like I said, I'm glad that people love it. My mom's actually in Duncan right now with 12 of her bedazzled friends.
I love that.
And they're all sparkling from head to toe going to the Showgirl film. Because any generation can love this, and I think especially her generation or our generation, or, I really think it's hitting home with a lot of people.
Is.
It's touching a nerve.
It is.
Yeah.
And, you're home on Ladysmith. We know that they're so proud of you and that they want all the best for you. And you've got so much going on. I honestly...
Everything happens at once. It wasn't planned.
But I love it. And I can't wait to see what comes next, because you've been a part of our lives for so long. And I know you'll be part of it for so much longer. So
I
it's
hope
exciting.
This is just the beginning.
I think it is.
Naked Gun comes out in the summer with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And then I did Rosebush Pruning with a director, Kareem Anuz, and it's a big ensemble piece. So, I'll be back around.
Well, I hope you'll come back and talk to us then.
Yes.
All right.
Thank
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You too. Pamela Anderson, star of The Last Showgirl.